And things crashed when I tried to talk to Ethiopia. Well, hi. Wow. That's just... I'm not going to bother with the ungraceful exit. It's a mod thing. I said skip. I'm not gonna buy pre-purchase things. I don't do that. I can show the mods because I'm here. Look. Historical Immersion, Mayo and Taxes 2.5, Theatrum Orbis Terrarium, and that's that. Quick and easy. Woo! The mouse is being all jiggly. Oh. It's all big again. There we go. Got the loading going. Oh, I feel pretty good though. We got 3.5 hours into the stream of Mayo and Taxes without any crashes. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Prince should be slow to punish and quick to reward. So says Ovid. Well, Ovid, were you a prince? Cool. So, we've got a Venetian, French, black, German dude. Nice. So my ancestry, I'm mostly Wendat, but I have, my mom is... my birth mom's half Wendat, half white, and my birth dad's white. My birth dad's from New Zealand, all Welsh. My birth mom... That's where you get the interesting stuff. Because she's got Westphalian. So, you trace back from her and him, you end up in the House von Hessen from her white side, and a house in Northumbria from his side that came from Wales. I forget the name of it. And you're from a runaway Ethiopian princess. Good job. I will call you henceforth Princess Cohen in celebration of your ancestry. 3 cheers for Princess Cohen and the Gradiniego aristocratic family. Hop into Zanzibar and hope that it doesn't crash again. While we're here, let's just take a moment and look at what's going on in the rest of the world. Is there anything cool? I don't see anything super cool going on. Sweden's unified. Oh, it looks like the Zhao are winning in China. Good luck, Zhao. Is there anything cool happening in the Americas? Hey, it's the Wendat! They call us right! They call us the right name! Wendat! They call us Wendat! Yay! They're still called the Hiawatha Iroquois, but they call us Wendat! Oh, well, that's going to have to be a future game at some point, knowing that they call us the right thing. Oh yes, and they named the things properly. I love this mod so much. back into the world. I was just checking things out. I didn't realize that they called this Wendat properly. It's great. MNT likes its historical accuracy in a different way than Europa Universalis does. Okay. So, this is before we called everyone back to start going to war. And since we're not going to go to war for a while, we just won't call them back and we'll let him continue doing his thing. And when Nasser Wakil is done in Mahran, we'll send him up. Yeah, Ethiopia does look interesting in this because of its smaller start. Oh yeah, we lost our education too. I have to do that again. Ethiopia does look good. I find the HRE is boring in M&T because just it's HRE plus, and the game is so slow paced. I don't get to play long enough to do anything. Although I mostly end up playing smaller HRE minors, it might be more enjoyable as Austria or Bohemia. Being a native could be interesting. And Ethiopia and Mali definitely look cool. Want to play as Ethiopia, want to play as Mali. I want to play as one of the Arabian tribes, like in the desert, and come out from the desert to conquer Arabia. Like, be Saudi Arabia, 700 years earlier. I don't know if it's possible. Kill was spying on us. If Kilwa wants to attack me, that's probably better for me than me attacking him. Except for the fact that I'm not currently standing on an island that I can defend myself on. So the morale thing could be a problem. You know what? Considering that, why don't I back up to Pembe Kiswani here until we're actually ready to start the war. That way, if he comes to war, I can block off coast of Mombasa, recover my stuff. Hopefully he goes to Zanzibar. We can trap him there somehow. Truces are done. We're coming up on crash time. Don't crash. I'm just gonna set this a little close. Watch carefully, not interact. Convert heretics peaceably. So we can do this again. I'm not going to do that right now. We need 5 more cities to wear the principal crown. Cool. Yeah, I remember that about Ethiopia and the Queen of Sheba. In high school, one of my best friend's boyfriends was this Rasta guy, and he went on and on about the Holy Empire of Ethiopia and their descendants from the Queen of Sheba and King Solomon, and on and on and on. Because that whole thing's theologically important to the Rastafari, is my understanding. I do like that, though. I do like that the imperial line of Ethiopia is descended from King Solomon. It's just a cool little thing, because it's pretty much an unbroken line all the way to the 20th century. And I remember, we're in church, and they're talking, about King Solomon, and my son's like, why do we care about this guy who died like 2,000 years ago, and his family's probably been dead for 1,000 years? And I'm like, well, let's just check the current state of the Solomonid dynasty. And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, I know that there were Solomonids alive, in World War II, and then lo and behold, they're not in power anymore, but they're still around. I think currently the current generation's all female, though, so the Solomonid dynasty may be disappearing soon, which is unfortunate. I'd have to double check, though. But, it was just cool to have that connection to something that's going to someone who exists now. You can point to them and be like, they are descended from this person in the Bible. And we know it. And it's just like, ooh. Mombasa's introducing their heir. Nice. I hope your heir enjoys Kalifi. I don't even have a city in Kalifi. It's got 0 urban population. Or excuse me, 400,000. Yeah, I know. I can't pronounce his name. I remember that, but yeah. The thing I find interesting about the Ross is the idea that we could be living post Second Coming of Christ and the bulk of folk wouldn't recognize. Is just the idea of that, I think, is cool. Oh, okay, they're still in midline. Oh, and you claim descendants. Okay. Princess Cohen Solomonid. It's probably an offensive thing to call you, but I kind of want to call you that. And when is it that we're going to be going to war again? Refresh my memory. I don't need ye. Wait. That's Ageron. They're the one I want. January of 77. Bad harvest. Can we eat this rebellion risk? Yeah, we can. Okay. So, in January 77. So I think that means in November I want to raise my stuff up. You haven't caught up to me tech-wise, have you? You have. You're still at 6. But we have the siege ability increase. That's good. And 7 does not have any benefits for us. So as long as you're not 8, we're good. We should catch up fairly quickly. 4 castles. That'll be nice. The naval morale will be nice. Where are you on Navy? You're 1 behind me on Navy. So we should still be good. I'll send you up to Ethiopia now. This is what crashed the game last time, but I think we should be fine. Okay. There's probably a memory leak that crashed the game, actually. Probably some calculation had a memory leak, and the game had to crash, and the memory had to get unassigned and cleared out. I think this next war, though, is going to have to be the end of the stream for today. So we'll start the war, we'll eat Mombasa and see what we can grab. Gonna grab that for sure. I'm in power loss. Oh gosh, gold standard stuff. Oh. Gold standard has pros and cons. I can see the USSR and business interests funding the coup that takes over. That kind of makes sense. I'd have to look up more history. I know that sort of stuff happens. I mean, if we were doing that sort of crap in Iran and in South Vietnam and throughout Latin America, why wouldn't the USSR be doing that in Africa? I think we did that in a couple places in Africa too. Oh, we've got some calculations happening. We had a lag. It's okay. There's a lot of calculations happening, apparently. Let's zoom out so we don't have to see as much. Let it tick a little bit better. Is it just me, or has Alwa gotten really big? Looks like Alwa's eating Mercuria. What are the extent of Ethiopia's everything right now? The answer is, like everything. Okay. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure the coup was backed by somebody. That makes sense. And I'm sure that if we, bothered to look up the history of the coup in detail, you'd see the connection. And it's probably not a conspiracy theory. That doesn't sound conspiracy theory-ish. I mean, the idea that perhaps it was done because of gold standard situations to favor globalism, that might be a little bit of a far stretch, but the idea that a couple business interests would work alongside the USSR, that doesn't seem like a big stretch. That seems like a pretty reasonable thing. Happens all the time. Business interests will work with whoever gets them ahead. And I can totally see the USSR wanting to establish a sort of counterbalance in the region to American and Israeli power. Especially if this is around, I forget when the coup in Iran happened. If it's around the time of the coup in Iran, then it could definitely make a lot of sense. Who knows? What's important now is that it's September of 1376 and we are getting close. We are getting close to marching our way up to Mombasa through a war with Kilwa, finishing off Mombasa, going south to Kilwa, and hopefully not having Ajuran involved. Hopefully Ajuran does not get involved in this. They may. I don't want them to. I really don't want Ajuran to get involved. If Ajuran gets involved, what contingency do I want in place? Because I'm not sure that I just want to fly over to their capital. New Plague, Marca, and Gonita. That doesn't sound like somewhere I know, so I'm probably not too terribly concerned about it. Yeah, HS is a guy. HS was a guy, and his replacement sounds like he was kind of a dude. I can't believe I'm beginning to use dude in a negative way. So I think it's time to position ourselves for war. And, gosh, I do want to think, though, on Ageron. If Ageron gets involved, do I ignore him and let Pate and Melindy suffer while I face down here? Or do I do the same thing I did before, where I jump up to Marka? Only this time I remember to bring the boats, so I get on the boats before I peace. Kick them out of the war, then sail down to Kilwa. Pros and cons. So pro, Ageron out of the war means everyone can focus south. It's good. Cons, it gives Kilwa a chance to get into things. Pros, it gives Kilwa a chance to go to Zanzibar, which gives me a chance to lock off the Zanzibar Strait and trap them in my capital. Con, they'll probably take Zanzibar first. So, going the other route. Pro, we get to keep focusing on Kilwa. Con, Ageron can kick my allies out of the war, which means that I can't possibly stand up to the strength of Kilwa. Yeah, I think if Ageron gets involved, we have to go north and deal with them. Okay. I don't think it's a viable option to ignore Ageron if they get involved. If they should hopefully get involved after we finish taking down Mombasa. And then if they get involved, it's just a matter of hopping up there with the boat. And then crossing our fingers and hoping that Kilwa doesn't get in there and we can get up to Marka, siege it, hop back on the boat, peace out Ageron while we're on the boat, then get ourselves back here and group up with everyone. Yeah. That's the idea. That's the rough strategic idea. The rough strategic idea. And of course, if Ageron does not decide to get involved, then if Ageron stays out of it, then it's a simple matter of kicking out Mombasa while we raise up tribal troops, then getting everyone together and just pushing south. And it'll be a grind, but we can hopefully push south enough that we can liberate Quell and Sofala. Okay. Are you guys at your favor level? You are, and you are. So let's bring you home. Mombasa's joining. Okay, they're not quite there yet. Come on, guys. Let's offer knowledge sharing to both of you. I don't know, it's just like, you know, he's not a dude. He's not a guy, he's like a dude. Okay, so we're sharing with Melindy, so we can't share with Pace. Okay. So they're not interested in that. That's not great. Would they be interested in Mombasa? So they'd be willing there. We have no CB. So I don't have a CB here. That's frustrating. Well, let's get a spy network going and get our army maintenance back down and go home. I was hoping I could pull them into the war with Kilwa. I was hoping I could pull them into that war with Kilwa. And then just eat up Mombasa on the side. But they're not interested in fighting Kilwa directly. They're only interested in Mombasa. And I need them to fight Kilwa. So this next war with Mombasa, we're not going to get out just because Mombasa's done. We need to kick Kilwa. Otherwise, the war has no point. So we're going to declare war on Mombasa. Because that's how I get my allies in. And I'll see if I can't get them in if I, you know, go with Kilwa too. Mombasa increases the risk of Ajuran being involved. Ugh. And now I'm just waiting for this. It bothers me that I didn't think I didn't plan that. I'm like, I don't need a spy network on Mombasa. Call back from Ethiopia. I don't actually care about Ethiopia that much. Come on. I want to look to see if I have anything. Because if I can get them to come into a war with Kilwa, that's better for me. Having Kilwa be in the war. They're still at -1. You're really in trouble there. Because of your manpower. You're down for Mombasa, right? Yeah. Okay. You guys are down for fighting Kilwa and Mombasa because you hate Mombasa. That's the reason. And you don't hate Kilwa, so you're not really that interested in kicking Kilwa's ass. That's unfortunate. I don't suppose y'all want some independence. Still loyal. Still loyal. That's unfortunate. Yeah. Okay. So we're just waiting again. Waiting again. Waiting, relaxing, chilling, and not getting much done because Great Gobbo Kid here didn't plan ahead and completely forgot that they might not hate Kilwa enough to get involved in the war. I was just kind of like, oh, well, we're strong enough to take them, and they're my allies, and they owe me favors. They'll come fight Kilwa. Nope. They're like, nah. We need more reasons. Oh gosh, Italy, such a cluster. Such a cluster for so long. And I play so much EU4 that I forget Italy, sometimes that Italy is unified. So the other day, I'm hanging out with my mom and my younger siblings, and one of my younger siblings' friends is... I don't know, did Abu Bakr die? No, Abu Bakr! Your beautiful, beautiful thing. And Fumo is even worse. God. But yeah, no, I'm hanging out, and one of my younger sister's friends is there, and she's like, "What country's Venice in?" And I just kind of look at her and say, "It's in Venice." And my mom goes, "It's in Italy." And I go, "God damn it, Italy's unified, that's right." You know... Let them pay the poll tax. You know, let's get some more money going. So playing these games, sometimes you can say stupid things because you forget that Italy isn't unified. Or is unified now. Plentiful manpower, wonderful. Yeah, that is sad. They've got some interesting engineering stuff they've got going on there to try to fix that, though. They've got some cool engineering stuff they're working with to keep it from sinking too much. But it's just sad. Everything dies, though, eventually. Sometimes the person doing the killing didn't plan their spy networks properly, and we have to wait a few more years to get a claim on Mombasa before we can kill Kilwa. But, you know, it happens. It happens. Everything's still pretty unified down there. I don't see much happening that isn't being driven by us. I mean, off-screen, the world's probably a cluster. But here things seem to be mostly pretty calm now that Ethiopia's little war here is done. I've got like 500 hours in the game. It's not as much as I have in like Crusader Kings, where I have way too much time in Crusader Kings. It's also because I'm not as good at Europa Universalis. But yeah, I play it a bit. And now that it's MNT mods here that actually has a decent speed during these times of peace, I'll probably stream it a bit too. Okay. Oh, why is our army like that? Come on. We cover the army. Let's get that fixed. Okay? Don't be like that. Come on. I do wish there was some way I could march troops over here. It's not as important now, but like later in the game, not being able to cross this wasteland is going to be a pain. $15 of 40. We gain 1 every month. Okay, they're full up. So let's get ourselves back to this. Okay. Is corruption stabilized? Almost. Corruption's almost stabilized. I think it's going to stabilize around 10. Which which is really bad in vanilla, but I think it's kind of standard here. And I don't think I'll need any allies to eat you once I betrayed you, so that should be fine. How many dudes am I going to get from the tribes? I should bring that into my calculus. Charges of innovation. So let's see. Looks like we're going to get 2. Cool. Let's see. Charges of innovation. An issue has arisen which is dividing the ulema. Some are leveling charges of innovation against the state. After the death of Muhammad, peace be upon him, questions arose that were not covered in the Quran. By the 10th century, however, most ulema agreed that these issues had been resolved and added to Sharia law. Consequently, there would be no new rules added to Sharia. The gates of Ittijad were now closed, and Islam would henceforth be defined by its adherence to tradition. New concepts continued to arise. Coffee, tobacco, firearms, and music were all absent and controversial. The worst things are novelties. Oh, it's raining. Hi, rain. I need to shut my window. Ah, nice rain. So let's see. The question is, do I return to tradition or ignore it? Stability increase interval. That's bad. Yeah, I will return to tradition. We lost plentiful manpower. We'll get it back soon enough, don't worry. So this is about when I wanted to stop, but I do want to do this war. I don't need to stop now. I'm just going to be running later. And I might have to cut the war short. We'll see. We will see. In any case. What is being a Prince of Zanzibar like? Well, livestock. We have livestock from Luaga that walk around in the ocean and then turn into boats. So I imagine it's a magical land in Zanzibar with the Zanzibarians. I wish I knew what was going on in the Mamluk lands. That's the thing I'm not liking here, is all this terra incognita. I just want to know what's happening there. I want to spy on them during moments like this when I'm just waiting. It's entirely my fault I'm waiting, though. I should have thought ahead, and instead of having that guy off in Ethiopia just wasting his time, should have had somebody building this in case. Oh. Wonderful. Yay, we're gonna gain 0 monies from the jizya. Get some corruption to get back what we lost. Hey, there's our innovation back. Charges of innovation. We're innovating. We're innovating over here. Look at how corrupt we are with our innovation. I feel the same way, like everyone's poor, which makes sense, you know, people were. And I was hoping we'd get this. Are we ready? Get out of here, gifted a body. I was being all dramatic, and you're like, we have a gifted body here. Fuck off. I'm not even going to check what the right decision is. This will unlock improved foraging and knowledge from outside. Picking this will increase our innovativeness. Knowledge from outside. Idea cost minus 2%. Excuse me. We had that, so it didn't give us that. But now we have the Trade Empire, which we're good. We're good right now. That's what I mean to say. Well, I mean, okay. Let's look down and consider the situation here a little more closely. So we look at the local wealth here. The locals of Zanzibar have 59 ducats of wealth in the rural area and 17 in the urban. So that means that in total, you know, there's about twice as much money running around in the civilian population as we have at home. And then if we go look at, say, the greater nobles, look at their power, we can see that they've got as much money as we have, and they're making more money, about the same amount per year as we are. So, I mean, it's going to be the same for the others. So, I think really what you have to do to get the sense of the wealth of the region is take this number and multiply it by, like, 6. And so, if you were, you know, making 6 ducats a month in 1378 in EU4, you'd be like, whoo, I'm rich. So the region's rich, but the government isn't. And if we look at the countries, you know, 50% autonomy, 96% autonomy, 100% autonomy. Like, there's a lot of money floating around. I just don't get a lot of it. And that's what I like about M&T, is it models the wealth, and it's not just how much money I have. Because people here build stuff. Okay, people there don't build stuff because they're tribals. And the tribes don't do shit. But here, I did not build any of these. All of these buildings have been built by the people of Zanzibar. Poll taxes. With a new idea group. And I do believe that we are going to want probably trade. Or admin. Not mill. I want to keep my mill points going into military for the time being. So admin unlocks exploration. No, naval unlocks exploration. There's not really much here I like. So I think trade. I think we will go trade. It's not going to be super helpful, I think, super short term, but it'll help us for a while. So, but yeah, our autonomy is dropping. But, you know, 50% of the money, so 50% of the taxes here go to the nobles, and then the rest go to me. So I don't make so much money, but we're making half a ducat a month. No, we cannot. Development in MNT is not a thing. If you look, instead of development, we have population. Rural, urban, and upper class. And these populations grow over time on their own. So you can see in Zanzibar here, we have, in total, 110,528 people living in Zanzibar, which is pretty well populated for the time, right? 106,881 of them are rural population, like farmers and such. 3,647 of them are urban population, and then 5,650 of them are kind of the upper class, which is not quite enough to kick that off. It is enough to kind of kick our urban population up to 1. And these kind of take the place and do the calculations. So our rural population gives us our trade power, tax income. Urban population, I forget exactly what it does, but it has to do with the construction of buildings, which happens automatically. We can build things, but it's super expensive. And then the upper class gives us more trade power. So, we don't get to develop. The provinces develop on their own. Now, what we can do is we can come to Zanzibar and we can construct roads, forts, irrigation, but it's all super expensive. Like, irrigating Zanzibar here will cost 1,908 ducats. It's super expensive. But that's kind of how we get things going. And then for buildings, we can build... Like, I can spend 367 ducats to build this shipwright myself. Or I can spend 220 to build this commune hall myself. 240 to build this warehouse, 220 to build this warehouse myself. And all that kind of contributes to development. But I think it's better right now for me to spend my money on my military and expansion to create a large tax base. So I can build and do stuff to improve my population. But there's only so much development that can happen, right? I mean, people only have new people so quickly. And right here, what's our population here? We've got 101,000 total there. We don't have 200,000 total there. It's 100. Where else? 100. We got 15K here. We've got how much here? 60K. And then here we've got 71K. So I think we have something like 500,000 people. What can we do besides war to make money? You can pull it out of the states, but really at the end of the day, it's trade, it's ideas. I mean, it's important, I think, to remember, and this is one of the things that M&T does over EU4 that's cool, is it models how little control you had at the time over your money as a ruler. Now, we could do some stuff to get a little more. Like right now, if we click the court, I'm spending a ducat a year on the court. And if we go take a look at our education, I'm spending a ducat a year on education. So, that's probably, that's 2 more ducats a year I could be getting if I were willing to not spend that money on maintaining my court and my education. The timber management here. Oh yeah, our stability improved, which is going to help our income. That's another thing. You can't dump points into stability. You have to actually improve your stability by managing your situation. But we can probably finagle our timber trade options somewhere here to get a little more money. But I'm not sure it's a wise choice because we're going to want that money for our boats. Save up our manpower. We get the production efficiency. Hooray. We get that back. Okay, so apparently that's just about not spending money on it. But like we can come to burgers, we can revoke privileges, because right now we have some problems here. Let's see if we can revoke privileges from the burghers. Yeah. So we can remove this, which will strip some of our corruption. But which one we want to. You know, actually, since we can strip a privilege from the burghers, I think that may actually behoove us. What privileges do the burghers have? So the right of commerce. Reduces efficiency. That increases autonomy. That reduces trade. I think right of... Yeah, I think if we revoke the rights of commerce, that's our best bet here. Let's take a moment and revoke the right of commerce. Let's see. Are there any things here we care about? High tax exemption on the greater nobility. I don't want to do that prior because they have some troops I can pull in. But I think after the war we'll get rid of the greater tax. It will cut down the tax exemption on the greater nobles. That will help us make money because we'll pull out that. Oh no, we got no. We need this spy network to create our casus belli. Hey, Mombasa, I'm going to insult you. Will you insult me back so I can declare war over a diplomatic insult? Okay, chance of losing stability. Didn't happen. Good. Yes, it did. Fuck. Mombasa. You're Mombasa, right? Yes. Fuck you, Mombasa.